Once upon a time, there was a young black girl from the South. She was so excited. She thought that she was going to save her family from poverty because she had just accepted a spot in a major university on a full scholarship. Little did she know, she would be raped, impregnated, and kicked out of school, all within the first semester. This TED Talk is dedicated to her and other black girls like her. I see you, I believe you, I love you, and I will support you. So now, I've been hearing a lot about Me Too and the movement, like Me Too, us too, we too. And I often wonder, do we really know what we're talking about when we say Me Too? Well, the Me Too movement was created for survivors to bond with each other and share stories. It has created conversations globally about sexual harassment, sexual assault, and perpetrator accountability. But I often wonder, how does it show up in the media? Well, here on our campus, it shows up like this in the Me Too monologues that our students so bravely perform. It also shows up like this: several white women coming forward during the allegations of sexual harassment against Harvey Weinstein. It rarely comes up like this. These are women who accused R. Kelly of sexual abuse, and they are featured in Surviving R. Kelly. Kelly is an R&B singer. And it rarely shows up like this. These are 25 black women who at the beginning of 2019 were missing, but they got no media coverage. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children states that roughly 800,000 people go missing every year, with 60% of those being people of color. Only 1/5 get media coverage. How is that related to the Me Too movement? I'm glad you asked. This is Tarana Burks. She created the Me Too movement in 2006 on MySpace. MySpace, that's a long time ago. She created it to amplify the voices of black girls who had experienced sexual abuse. In 2017, Alyssa Milano tweeted Me Too around the time when there were allegations against Harvey Weinstein. Now, let's be clear. It's not a problem that white women are utilizing the Me Too hashtag to raise awareness. The issue is the voices that are unrecognized and unheard when only white women have a platform and a voice. When that happens, the message becomes that sexual violence is only an issue for white women, when in fact, black women, Latinas, and indigenous women have been dealing with this issue for centuries. It's problematic when women of color, trans women, and indigenous women must push their pain aside and make room only for white women's voices to be heard. Indigenous women, however, their stories never get told. They're always silenced. So is this intentional? Well, there's a quote by Malcolm X that starts by saying, "The most disrespected person in America is the black woman." I believe this speaks directly to violence against women of color. You see, in society, there's a way that we're supposed to act and behave, guidelines, norms, if you will. And those guidelines become the perfect victim of how people are supposed to act and behave. Who's the perfect victim, you say? They're white, cisgendered, heterosexual, female, height, weight proportioned, between the age of 18 and 30, and Christian. And while this might be the face of some victims, this leaves out a cadre of people who end up suffering in silence. So let's talk about the objectification and oppression of Black girls. First, if we're really going to talk about gender violence and sexual violence, we must acknowledge that brown and Black women have been experiencing this in the United States since the 1600s. So let's start there. Statistically, for every one Black girl that comes forward and reports a rape, 15 do not. 60% of Black girls will be sexually assaulted by someone they know by their 18th birthday. And 40% of confirmed sex trafficked cases in North Carolina, their victims are African American women. But what does this have to do with Duke? Let's bring it home, right? So, on some research that we did in 2006 and in 2018, it found that 77% of Black Duke students reported experiencing discrimination based on their skin color or race. Nearly 60% of female students on Duke's campus report gender discrimination, and then 48% of undergraduate females report experienced sexual violence since enrolling in Duke, with Black and Latina women disproportionately affected. We have a problem. To go even deeper, let's talk about 3 different cases to find who actually has a voice on this campus around gender violence. 3 cases, 3 women, and 3 very different outcomes. The first one, Rebecca. Rebecca is a well-resourced white woman who's in a sorority. She was sexually assaulted at Shooters, a club here in Durham, by groping. She reported, there was a conduct process, and her perpetrator was found responsible. She's now seen as an advocate and an expert in gender violence. Then there's Rosa. Rosa is a first-generation Duke student who is in a scholarship program, and she's also a sorority woman. She was raped at the Barn, which is an off-campus fraternity party. She reported there was a conduct process, and her perpetrator was found not responsible. After struggling through the semester without supports, she was academically dismissed. Lastly, there's Regina. Regina is a first-gen Black student who's in a Duke Scholarship program as well. She was raped on Central Campus. She reported there was no conduct process. She was shunned, she was cyberbullied, and she lost her community. No support there. And after a semester of struggling academically, she too was dismissed. Now I need to make it clear that we have resources here on this campus for anyone and everyone who has experienced gender violence. But I think we miss the real issue, which is, why don't we start doing something to stop gender violence from happening, period? We can do something. It starts with a really simple question. What would our campus look like, feel like, sound like, if there was no gender violence?
We are the Duke Ideal.
We are the Duke Ideal.
We are the Duke Ideal.
Imagine a community that's safe for all students,
where students feel empowered,
where they experience a culture that's inspirational,
that's activated,
that's hopeful.
Imagine a community where students are talking about sex.
Lots of sex.
But good sex.
They're talking about relationships,
Talking about our values.
Talking about how sex and alcohol actually do interact with each other.
And we're not afraid to talk about it. Where there is collective ownership.
Yeah, We're dedicated.
Sustainable.
We're thinking about how our behavior impacts others and how others impact our behavior.
Imagine a place where people are educated.
Not just about science or math. Educated about sexual violence.
Imagine a place where we're both committed to the reduction of sexual violence.
But more than that, the elimination of it.
Imagine if everyone was PAC trained.
Everybody?
Yes, everybody.
Imagine if after you're PAC trained, you're activated to go back to your communities and make sure that they're PAC trained too.
You keep attending events and learning about sexual violence.
Imagine a community that's activated.
That's cultivating a new culture.
Imagine leaving a legacy.
This issue is just as important for me as a student leader
As it is for me as a student of color.
As it is for me as a friend.
As it is for me as a graduate student. As it is for me as a moral citizen.
We're leaving a legacy. This is the Duke Ideal.
I'm Marvin Lloyd, and I'm the Duke Ideal. I think starting a conversation around gender violence and sexual assault is the first step in preventing and reducing the amount of gender violence and sexual assault.
Hi, my name is Elijah Herman. To me, the Duke Ideal is a community where we're responsible for each other's actions, open about having tough conversations, and ready to take action when needed.
My name is Devon Mazel, and I'm the Duke Ideal. And I'm committed to holding men accountable on Duke University's campus for gender assault and sexual violence.
Hi, my name is Praise, and the Duke Ideal to me is being able to talk openly about sexual assault.
My name is Corey Pilson, and I am the Duke Ideal. I am committed to challenging dangerous rhetoric that leads to or supports gender violence and sexual assault.
I am.
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 We are the Duke Ideal.
This is our campus. Help me to change the culture here. We can make the difference. My name is April Autumn, and I am my ancestors' wildest imaginations. I am also the Duke Ideal. Thank you.